It goes back all the way to 1999, but it actually goes back to 1985 when my grandmother bought me a ZX Spectrum computer for Christmas actually. So I was 10, 10, 11, something like that. And this thing, 48K of RAM, rubber keys. You had to load up a game by playing an audio cassette into it for 6 minutes while it screeched at you. That was the state of the art for home computing back then. Like, loads of us that year all got a home computer, a Commodore, probably not 64 VIC-20 or ZX Spectrum or whatever. I fell in love with that thing. So this is before you had computer monitors that were like right in front of you. So I plugged in my computer, and 6 foot over there was our home TV, which I would like look at this tiny little screen. I subscribed to a magazine called Input Magazine, and every week it came out and it listed code. And I actually found an online version of it. I was looking at it a couple of weeks ago. It's like, this is what variables are. This is how you do calculations. And I learned by reading this magazine and copying by hand the code from the magazine into my computer. And that's how I taught myself to program. And I fell in love with programming. Fast forward to like when I was 15, I did computer GCSEs, and I wrote my dad an entire stock management system on the Atari ST, which he never used because he didn't have a computer. He didn't know anything about why he would use it, but I built it and I loved it. So that stayed in my mind. I fell into the music business and I was using computers to make music. And so I kept up with computers and not so much with the programming, but I knew how to work computers. I was very competent with them. So in 1999, I moved to Shropshire to join Jeannie, who had moved there a year previous. And I'd been working for American Express down in Brighton at their headquarters, making credit cards, making music during the day and making credit cards in the evening. That had been my life for the last year. So I moved up to Shropshire. I knew no one. I had no job. My next door neighbour offered me a job at his potato farm. And fair play to potato farmers, I don't have the stamina or the energy or the drive to get up at that time and work the fields. I just don't have it in me. And so I realised I was going to have to come up with something. Now, I'd been making music, and so Jeannie and I naturally said, well, why don't we start a record label? So we did. Remote Recordings Limited was our record label. We signed 10 artists to the label. It took me 6 months, but we got a distribution deal with Universal Music. Remember, this is pretty much pre-internet music. And so you had to create CDs or create vinyl and get them into the shops. So the distribution deal was key. We organised a tour to launch the record label of universities around the country, and Hip Hop Connection magazine came to interview us about the tour. As the interviewer left, he said, by the way, who built your website? Because I need one. I'm running a DJ battle. And I had taught myself to build a website because I knew this internet thing was probably going to have some effect on music. Who knew? And so I was like, well, I'm going to have to learn how to write websites. Just about to jump on a train, W.H. Smith grabbed .NET magazine from the shelves, and it had Dreamweaver 1 on the cover disc, and I used that software to learn how to build websites. And so it went on, and suddenly we were building websites over and over again, and we hadn't released a record. We did that for about a year until we realised that we were very low on cash. Everyone and his dog was building websites. We didn't know anything about business. We didn't know anything about building websites, really. And I got myself a job 1 day a week at Positive News magazine for £50 a day to build their website. Met a designer there, and we kind of collaborated for a bit on building websites. Anyway, we weren't making any money until one day an old college friend phoned up. He had an idea, a very good idea, frankly, for an online portal that would do a combination of technological things that had never been done before. He'd got investment already. It was 1999. You could just say internet to someone and they give you a load of cash. That was how it was. He'd got the investment. He'd gone to 5 established software development companies, presented the idea, and they said it technically couldn't be done. Jeannie took the call. She said, yeah, we can do it. Turns out she was right. I enlisted the help of 2 friends, one that was a front-end software engineer and one who was a database specialist. And we worked out how we were going to build this software. and we won the job. I then went to Waterstones in Shrewsbury and I bought 5 books. Learn SQL in 24 hours, learn ASP in 7 days, VB script, JavaScript, and Visual Basic. Those are the languages I had to learn to deliver this project, because no matter how much my friends worked on it, I knew that their time would run out. And so I needed to be able to build this thing. And so we built the world's first online homeopathic materia medica for homeopathic students. So you could put in a patient's symptoms and it would search across 360 reference books that had all been written over 200 years by 200 different people. It would find the remedy and the symptom and prescribe the homeopathic prescription. We were the first in the world to do it, and on the launch day, 3 months after we were given the project, I drove down to Telehouse, the data centre in London Docklands, and plugged in the server myself that I had set up. Well, I feel a bit emotional thinking about that. It was a big day, right? I'd not done anything like that before, but we had built something that was going to make a difference in the world, and that portal stayed live with active users for 10 years. And suddenly we weren't a website company, we were a software company. And from that, everything else flowed. We built all sorts of different portals for all sorts of different businesses. Volkswagen Group came across our work, employed us to do a massive project, which again ran for 15 years before they didn't need it anymore because regulations changed. Suddenly we were doing stuff that was way beyond the brochure websites we started with. It was portals that were elevating teams, that were empowering customers, that was actually making a difference. And that's how we ended up doing what we do now. So it was around 2002, 2003 that we kicked in doing these portals, I think. And now, 20 years later, it's all we do. And we've got significantly better at it along the way. And I'm proud of what we've built.